Good morning and welcome everybody to today's webinar about Safire Smart. Let me just check. I hope you can hear me and the audio is okay. If this is the case, let's just get started. As you know from the previous webinars, we always start with a short PowerPoint presentation about the brand, and then in the second part we're going to do a little demo. And show all the functions and options the CCTV brand has to offer. Okay, so I would say let's just get started with the PowerPoint presentation. First, the agenda to see what we're going to talk about today. First up is going to be the product range. What devices do we have to offer? We're going to go a little bit into the highlights of each product line, how to identify them by model numbers, etc. We're going to talk a little bit about the system configuration, even though we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth in the second part in the demo. And then about the software and the new mobile app, which I think is really interesting. We've brought out a new application, which is called Safire Smart Max. And then, like I said, a demo. And if there are some questions, we're just gonna answer a couple the questions if you have. At the very end, I have Ferdi in the chat. So if you have questions also during the PowerPoint presentation, he is going to answer them, or you can just write us an email or call us later on. Okay, so I would say let's get started. How do I know what each reference is? So first, we're going to check a little bit the reference of the cameras, the IP cameras, how to identify them by the model number, which is actually quite simple. Exactly. So this is basically how you identify it. The first two letters are obviously Safire from Safire Smart, the IP cameras. Then the next couple letters are basically telling us what type of camera, what type of model it is. So if it's a bullet camera, if it's a dome camera, turret camera, we also have a cube camera now in stock or in the catalog. SD is going to be for the speed domes, and the one which I have not on the list here is the pinhole camera, which is pretty easy to identify because it says pinhole. Exactly. So those are the cameras we have. Plus, in addition, we have the special cameras, the thermal cameras. So this, in addition, we have turret and bullet cameras, so it would be a B or a T and an additional T to identify that is a thermal camera. Then next up, we have three numbers. It's either 0, 3, or 5, which gives us an idea what type of lens we're having. If it's either a short fixed lens, a long fixed lens, or if we have a motorized lens. Then we have the 10, 20, 40, 70, and 80. It's a little bit like an identification between turret, dome, and bullet, but it's not that important. And then we have the C or Z option, which gives us an idea if it's either a night color or a night pro camera, even though in the newer models, we even also have it written in the model number itself, the night pro at the very end. And the Z is also giving us an idea again, if it's in fixed or if it's in motorized zoom lens. Then also for smart cameras, we have from 2 all the way up to 12 megapixel resolution. So basically everything you can ask for. And then what is most important, I believe, is what type of series it is, right? So what we have is we have a B series, a B1, and an E series. And then we have the I series, which is going to be the high-end series. We're going to talk about this in the next slide. And then at the very end, we have either an SL, and DL, or gray written. So the SL cameras are the active deterrence cameras, which means they have a light or a sound and light or siren and light trigger, which can be triggered after an event, which means after a line crossing event, we can have an pre-recorded audio played and like a police light flashing. And then the dual light is a very interesting camera because it has basically 2 or actually 3 illumination modes. which means we have the IR light, the classic IR light. We have the white LED, but also we have the smart illumination, which means the camera actually during the night is in the IR mode, which means you have a black and white image. But after a movement or an event, a smart event, the LED is going to turn on and it's going to give you a colored image. Event is over, the camera is then going back to the gray or to the IR light, so it's not disturbing any neighbors or whoever is going to be close to the camera. So the LED is not on all night long. And then we also have not all the cameras, but now quite a lot. We also have them in gray color, so not just in white. So the gray at the end is gonna tell you what color the camera has. Okay. Then, like I said, 3 ranges, basically the B series, E series, and I series. When we talk about the B series, this is basically just the starter or the first series, a pretty good quality and price ratio, a good camera for simple installations for 24/7 event or 24/7 recording or simple motion detection in 2, 4, or 6 megapixels. We have those cameras. Exactly. So pretty simple and straightforward, very good prices. Then in the middle, we're going to have the E series. This E series already has some AI integrated, so we can basically classify objects. As it says here in the slide, we can identify if it's either a human or a vehicle. So which means it's not just a classic motion detection where every little pixel change is going to give us an event or an alarm. We can basically say, hey, we just want to have a human detected or a vehicle detected. So therefore, the E series. We also have night color cameras in the E series. We have the SL cameras in the series, the light and siren cameras. And a lot of those cameras already have a starlight sensor, which means the image quality for lower light conditionings is going to be a bit better than in the B series. And then all the way to the right is the I series. This is basically the top series with the complete AI advanced AI integrated with classification based on morphology. So which means we also have classification by object or objects, which means human, vehicle, or even non-motorized vehicles like bicycles, etc. What we have here in addition is the video metadata, which means analytics. I'm going to show you that later on in the demo. It's insane how good and fast it works through the web interface of the NVR, through the VMS, or also through your application. So searching for attributes through this video metadata is really, really good and interesting. We have obviously the option of target counting by after a line crossing. So having a camera installed at the entrance of a shop or a store, so you can check how many people enter and exit the shop. We have face detection as well. If you really want to have a complete camera, you then have to go with the I series. Good. Then we're going to do the same now with the NVRs. How to identify the NVRs. Pretty simple as well. Obviously, again, the SF is for the Safire or Safire Smart. Then we have the first couple of letters is basically the decoding capacity in channels. Then what is also really important to know is how many hard disks you can fit in your NVR, which is going to tell you with the third row of letters. And then the fourth row of letters is then the maximal channels of IP cameras you can add, which goes from 4 all the way up to 128, even though we also now have a server in our catalog, but we're going to see that on the next slide. Then we have PoE and non-PoE NVRs. So if it's 4P, 8P, 16P, this is going to give you an idea if it's how many PoE ports you have. Then on the higher end of the NVRs, we also have relays or alarm outputs. So with the X and A, you can check if the NVR has a relay and how many relay it has. And then we have the series at the very end. Here just an addition, because for the people or installers who are with us for for now quite some time. We had more series at the very beginning. We started with A2, with A series, with the B1 and B2 series and the A3 series. What we have done now, we have put everything a little bit together, make it a little bit easier. So basically what we have now, we just have the B2 series. And we have the A3 series, which is the special series, which is higher number of channels, higher capacity of hard disks you can mount. Exactly, those are the two series, plus then the server, which we're going to see on the next slide. Exactly. So the two series we talked about, the B2 series, 4, 8, 16, and 32 channels. And obviously, if it's a POE recorder with the POE ports, a pretty complete series, especially if you have the 8000. With the 8000 B2, we have a pretty complete NVR, which can be used for basically everything. You can see here we have the option of face tracking. We can do dewarping of our fisheye camera if it's the 6 or 12 megapixel camera. Also video metadata. So if you do not need more than 32 channels, the B2 series is a good option because, yeah, like I said, you can basically do everything with it. If you need to go higher with your numbers of channels, then we need to go a little bit to the A3 series, to the special series. As you can see here, 46 and 128 channels. Obviously, also more space for hard disks. So all the way up to 16 hard disks you can fit. From the functions, it's basically the same. Again, we have face tracking, we have the dewarping for our fisheye cameras, video metadata, but what do we have in the higher end or the special series? We have the RAID options. Exactly. So those are the two series we have now brought together. And then in addition to that, we have the server, which is based on a Linux operating system with all the way up to 1,000 channels. Exactly at the very bottom, you can see the specs of the server itself. So if you have really a need of more channels for the installation, the server will be then a good option for it. Great. So then now we're going to go a little bit more into the technical part. This was just a little bit like how to identify our models and what are the basic functions of those models to choose the right NVR and camera for your installation. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit into the system configuration, just talk about the basics and how Safire Smart works. We're going to go a little bit deeper into it in a demo. So one key feature or one key point we have with Safire Smart is the system configuration of our NVRs. The system configuration of our NVRs is basically the same from the web interface as from the NVR itself, which makes it quite easy for the installer to navigate. So whatever your preference is, if you want to do it locally with the mouse and the monitor or to your laptop and to the web interface, everything is basically the same. So it makes it quite easy to configure. Then what I want to talk about as well is the tools, VMS, and also the platform, which is good to know when you work with Safire Smart. Like I said, the configuration of the NVR can be done through the web interface or also through the monitor. When we now go to the cameras itself, we talk about activation. When we talk about just in general network scanning, the network tool is called IP Manager from Safire Smart. So what can it do? Like I said before, when you take the camera fresh out of the box, you have to activate the camera and make its network settings. That this can be done through the Manager tool. The good thing is also if you have a bigger installation and a lot of cameras, you can also do batch settings. So you can basically, I don't know if it's 20, 30, 50 cameras, you can basically activate them all at the same time, give them the same password, and also do a batch network setting. So you can say, hey, this is my IP range, give all the cameras an IP in this range. So really, really good and easy to use. I'm going to show you later on how it works. And also the restore factory configuration can be done through the IP Manager tool. So if you lose a password of a camera. I want to point out here, we're talking about a camera. If you lose your password or forget your password, you can do a factory restore through the IP manager tool. Exactly. With the NVR, it's a little bit different. Exactly. Those are basically the main functions of the IP manager tool. Then Safire Smart VMS, video management software. Also a really helpful tool with a lot of different functions. As it says here, the first point, powerful capabilities of radio surveillance, real-time preview. What I really like about the VMS, basically what we can do, we can add our devices peer-to-peer to the VMS. So not just locally, also from remote sites, we can add a lot of different MVRs and bring it together to the VMS and monitor it from just one standpoint. We can then download our evidence directly from the VMS, which is also quite simple. I'm going to show you later on. And obviously the instant playback and reviews of events. So we also have the option of basically letting us show the live events right away in the VMS. We can do license plate comparison. So if you're working with license plate or also face detection, we can also search for those events and do like a comparison or retrieval for face or for the license plates. So a pretty complete and good video management software. And then the third tool, which is also good to know, is the Autonut platform. What is the Autonut platform? The Autonut platform is basically allowing us peer-to-peer or remotely accessing our devices and doing settings from there. Without port forwarding or anything, just peer-to-peer with serial number and password, we can access our devices. We get directly into the web interface as we would be locally, can do our configurations or our configuration, and we do not really have to go on site. So a big plus here. They also have enhanced the security. At the very beginning, with just serial number and password, and you could log in. Now we also have an option which is by default already activated, that you have to have a double verification, which means an authorization code. So you have your devices added to your application, and then you can access through the Autonut platform your device, fill in serial number and password, and then it's going to send you an authorization code to your application, which can be then filled in the Autonut platform to access it. Exactly, just to enhance the security again a little bit. And as I said, like the device configuration is basically as you would be locally on the web interface of the NVR. We're gonna check that later on as well. And then basically the main tool is the new application. So it's called Safire Smart Max. What we have tried to do with the Safire Smart Max is just to make it a little bit more user-friendly as the one before. Aesthetically, it looks way better and has a lot of nice options on how to preview or have the live view playback, search, etc. Exactly. So pretty complete. The new interface, way more intuitive interface. We have directly a smart playback where it's not just showing you the timeline, it's also showing you directly the event in the timeline as well. Then we have the alarm messages in one list with the image right next to it, so we can identify which camera it is. It's giving you the name of the camera, what event was created. So they've done a nice job there. And if you click on the event, it's leading you directly to an image of the event, where you can see this, for example, is an intrusion of a vehicle. It's even telling it's a vehicle. And you can even then go directly to the video and download the video. So super easy and nice to handle. What they also have implemented is the assembly groups. So in the previous options or the previous application, we had the option of arming and disarming our NVR. For example, if we are at home, we don't want to get the push notification. So we just disarm our NVR and arm it as well. What we can do now in the new application, we can create groups and can arm and disarm directly several devices at once, right? And what I want to point out here, this is just working if your NVR is on the latest version of firmware, which is the 1.4.13. Especially this function is very important that the NVR is on the latest version. And then the next point is going to be the import. So when you are using at the moment your Safire Smart application and you want to change to the Safire Smart application, it's actually quite easy. You can log into the new application with the exact same login. And it's going to ask you right away if you want to import the devices from your old application into the new application. Right? So it's going to import all of them. Keep in mind that you cannot go back. So when you import them, they're going to be the new one. If you want to have them back in the old one, you have to add them manually again. What you also can do is you can say, I don't want to do it from the beginning on. You can go through the wizard and you can then later on import it when you have done the wizard of the application and say, hey, I just want to import 1 or 2 devices or exactly. So you can do that later on. But it's actually super simple. It's going to show the list of all the devices which are in the old application and you can import it into the new one. Then search filters, attributes, for example. We've talked about metadata. So we can search for basically everything to the application, humans, vehicles, two-wheeled vehicles, and attributes, license plates as well, super fast and easy. Here, for example, the example of a human, it's showing you the images right away, and it's also like really showing you where the detection was, and it's going to mark you, hey, there was a person detected. The same with the vehicles as well. So not just license plate, also vehicles. And exactly then the last one would be the vehicles, the license plate, sorry. So you can search for a specific license plate, or you just search for all the license plates during one day, for example. Exactly. So a huge amount of options of searching also through your application, so you don't have to get to your NVR or log into the web interface. Good. So that was the first part. Thank you very much for listening to the first part. And I would say now we're going to go into the second part, which would be the demo part. So therefore, I'm just going to close this. And we say this. Great. Now let me take out my notes and let's see what we're going to do. So we've talked about the tools which we need to work with Safire Smart. One of the tools we've talked about before was the IP Manager tool. So what I want to do now is just want to show you how the IP Manager tool looks like. This is the tool. Super easy and straightforward. It's a network scanning device. It's going to scan the network and it's going to show you all the devices which are connected right now in your network. Now, right now I'm a little bit isolated. This is why it's just the on-with devices showing up. At the very bottom, we have all the options which are available or which are important to know of. The first option is basically the activation button, which you can see here at the right bottom. So every camera you take out of the box, I want to point out again, just cameras, the NVR, cannot be activated through the IPC Manager tool. It's just IPC because it's IP camera tool. So whenever you take the camera out of the box, you can activate it. So basically, if the camera is showing up, you mark it here in the list, you activate it, and you can give it its password here at the very bottom. Let's make it a little bit smaller so we can see what's showing up at the bottom. So we activate it, we can give it a password, and we can also already activate the on-with account with the tool itself if needed, right? If you want to integrate it into a third-party system. Then right to the activation button, we have the Restore Factory Configuration button. Also quite simple. Like I said, if you forgot the password, just mark your camera in the list. Mark, I don't remember the password, and it's basically giving you the instruction what you have to do, which means click on the Restore button, and then within 30 seconds, disconnect your camera and connect it again, right? Pull a camera, take it out of the switch and connect it again. And then the camera is back to factory default. Then the third option would be here on the left bottom, which is the batch set net. What we can do here is we can set our network settings of our camera or of several cameras. It's either obtain automatically, which means setting the camera to DHCP, or I can use the following. So I can set a range. Like I said, I can say start IP and end IP. If I have 50 cameras, I can set the start IP and end IP subnet mask gateway. And then you have set your network settings of your cameras. So quite effective and fast. Exactly. Good. So that was the IPC manager tool. Then next up, like I said, this is the tool for the cameras. For the NVR, it's a little bit different. The NVR needs to be set up and activated with a monitor and a mouse and cannot be activated actually through the web interface itself. So I would always recommend before you go into your installation, take the NVR out of the box, just connect the monitor to it, set it up and set it to DHCP, because all cameras and also the NVRs come with the same default IP address and are not set on DHCP. Therefore, like I said, I recommend take it out of the box, the NVR, give it an IP address or set it to DHCP, and then you're on the safe side. Good. Then next tool, we talk about the VMS and the functions of the VMS. So this is the VMS. Let's see if we can make it a bit smaller. No, it doesn't. So the VMS, when you first download it from our website, you have to log in. It's going to be installed on one laptop on a server. The default password is 126, which then need to be changed. Exactly. Then when you've installed the VMS on your computer, laptop, etc., I show you just a couple of options. One of the main functions is obviously adding devices. We have several options on how to add devices. Obviously, the easiest way is just locally adding a device. We go into Home and Resource Management, and then we go on Add. We can either quickly add, which the VMS is scanning our network. We can select our camera and add it. We can also manually add it if we know the IP address. When we manually add it, we can even choose the protocol. So we can also add locally on with devices, but by default, obviously, with Safire Smart, we can fill in the port, admin, and password and can add it. What actually is a way powerful option is basically adding the device through the serial number and password, means peer-to-peer. Therefore, what we have to do, we go into manually add the IP address, click on the IP address and change then to the serial number. It's going to ask us then the serial number, admin, and password. And when we have done that, it's going to look like this. If we go to the right, it's going to show us exactly the serial number here shown and already how many channels are added to the device. In the VMS, also, like if you have a lot of installation, we can also organize it a little bit to have a better overview. So basically what we can do, we can create area settings. Because if you then go into the live view, if you're not creating any areas, we just have all the devices here on the list, and we cannot really identify all the channels are showing up. So what we can do in the research management, we can set areas. What I've done here, for example, I have created an area which is client area and the SAT area, which will be the area we're using for testing. And if I go back to the live view, I have here my clients and here all the cameras which are connected to this installation, or here our test installation here in Visiotech with all my cameras which are connected. Can just drag them over and have the live view directly here. Then The VMS also is giving us the option of playback, obviously. If you go back to home in record and playback, we get into the playback settings. What we do here first, let's see, we have to choose. Let me see if we can make this a little bit smaller. There we go. First, we have to choose the monitoring point, which means what camera. We choose the camera, and then we can also say what we would like to choose. If you just want to search for the calendar, like for the date, or if we want to search for the event, just select event or all of them. We can search, and it's then going to show us right away here in the bar all the playbacks with motion detection, or if it's scheduled recording, you can identify directly what type of event it is, and pretty fast and simple. Can also make this a little bit bigger if we just want to have one channel. And also from here directly, we can download our recording with the clips, which is say start and end time, and then click on download, and then it's going to basically here just downloading the clip we just would like to download here, 80-90% in the folder, which is showing up here, see backup NVR. So pretty easy and straightforward. And as I said, this is all remotely peer-to-peer. Then it's also a pretty powerful tool if you want to search for proper events. If you, for example, have set up an LPR camera and you want to look for license plates, here in the search options, what we have a license plate comparison. As before, what we have to do is we have to first choose the monitoring point, which in this case is going to be my LPR camera. We can choose the time. This one is here on my side. We can choose, for example, the whole week and just search for it, and you see it's quite fast and it's showing directly all the license plates. Or I can also search for a specific license plate. Let's see if that one was recognized. No, it was not recognized. But yeah, basically you can search for license plates directly, or you can also say, hi, if I have a database, I can choose also the match type, if it's on the allow list, on the block list, on the temporary list. So also here, pretty powerful. So the same can be done if you have done if you set up a face recognition event, etc. Or for example here, if you have a metadata event, you can also do that through the VMS here as well. Let's see exactly. So basically, just select what we want to detect people. We do the intelligence server, and we can just search. I need to select the monitoring point. Let me see if I can do that because the scale is here a little bit. Close this. Select the monitoring point, and I can search for metadata or attributes. Right? Let's say, for example, I want to just search for male with glasses. Wear glasses, and for example, upper closing, we would like to have green, and we search maybe for the whole week. And there we have it right away. Everybody green, glasses. Exactly. So the VMS is a pretty powerful tool for live view, playback, downloading events, searching for events. And as you can see, it's instant. So you have your event shown here right away. And also, if you then go into the event, you can go into the playback, you can go into the details here. For example, there was me walking in at 8:14. You can see here, male, glasses. I'm wearing glasses, no backpack, and exactly all the information from the video metadata also here shown. Good. So that's just a short overview of the VMS. Then this is the IPC Manager tool. Then what we have talked about before was the AutoNut option. So the AutoNut is basically a platform which allows us to access remotely through our NVR. Let's do that right away. AutoNut. So we go into autonut.com, this a little bit smaller. So what we need to have is the serial number of our NVR. The serial number we find in the network settings of the NVR. So we're going to function panel, network, TCP, IP. And then here on the left side in network, we have the NAT sector NAT. And underneath our QR code, we have the serial number. For the NVRs, it normally starts with N. There are also now a few cameras with the option of peer-to-peer, but therefore please check on our webpage, on our Visiotech website. There's a filter in the Safire Smart IP cameras if they have the peer-to-peer option or not. So this can be done with cameras and also with NVRs. So we just fill in the serial number, admin, and the password, log in, and then it's either not now. Most likely it's going to ask me for the plugins. It is. So I'm just going to download the plugins. And it has been executed. After the execution of the plugins, we're going to reload the page. And it's going to lead us directly to the web interface of the NVR. And as you can see, here I'm locally connected with the IP address, right? We go into the live view. So it's the exact same NVR. And here we have done the same, but with the Autonat peer-to-peer. And we have the same option, function panels. I can go here also into my network settings. I can go into the event settings, etc. So the Autonat for configuration, or if you want to just update the device, etc., is a good option. Good. Now, we've talked about IPC Manager tool, we talked about the VMS, the Autonat. Now we go a little bit more into the actual configuration of the recorders or of the NVRs. And also, I'm not going to go too much into the detail. I just want to show you a couple of things and also show you the new functions of the new firmware, which is the 1.4.13. If you go into basic settings, information here at the bottom, as you can see, this is an NVRB2 series, and we have here the firmware version 1.14.13. So for all the NVRs, we have now this version available. Great. So, like I said, let's talk first about the new functions, the new important functions, which are the following. One function which is called auto report. Then we have implemented now the password recovery. So we have now an option of setting security questions or an email. If we forgot the password, we can get a dynamic code to our password, and also the double verification when you log into your NVR, either to the web interface or locally. First, we're going to check the auto report. So what is the auto report actually? The auto report is a function we have implemented so we can add a camera, which is in a complete different network, through this function with just opening one port on the NVR side, which means the configuration is quite simple. What we have to do first, we have to get into our camera. We log in. This, for example, is an LPR camera. You go into the configuration, and in network and server, we have this auto report function, right? So what we have to fill in here, obviously you have to enable it. The default port is 2009, can be changed, even though we recommend always leave it on 2009, which is then the port we need to open in on the NVR side. Then we fill in the server address of the NVR. In this case, because I'm locally, I filled in the local IP address. So the public IP address also the domain. We also tried it with the domain, which also works, and the device ID, which is important because then now on the NVR side, to identify our device, we can do it through this ID. So that's basically it on the camera side. Then when we go into the NVR, we go into function panel. We're going to add a camera. And now You can see at the top, we not just have the quickly add option, the manually option, or on the recorder, which can be added. We have the auto report option. This is this new function. We just refresh. Let me check. Because when you do it live, right? There we go. So we have it now. So the NVR directly, because the camera is pointing onto the NVR, is directly identifying the camera. I can see it here, the device ID. I have my local IP address where the camera is installed. The protocol, the only thing I have to do is I have to fill in the password, and I can assign a channel. In this case, channel 7 is free. Add it, successful. And that's basically it. As you can see here, I have the camera added locally in the same network, and also here at the very bottom, now with this auto report option, which you can identify here with the sub-device ID. Exactly. So really, really nice option if you have a camera in a different network than your NVR. Good. Then the next new function is the password recovery. We all know forgetting passwords is a daily business, right? So we have a lot of password resets we have to do. So now we have implemented this option. So you can, when you set up your NVR, you can fill in either security questions or an email. Therefore, in account, in users, and in edit security questions, we have the questions we can add, or we have the email. So whenever we enable this and fill in an address, the recovery file or the recovery dynamic password is going to be sent to this email. So I think it's a good option to recover the password. And then also here in the same sector is the double verification. This is also a new function which a few people have asked for, which is basically the following. If you go into the double verification, obviously we have to enable it. So what is it? We basically have an administrator password, and then we can set an additional password for each user. So let's say we have a security center with several security guards, and we can set several users. So one main password plus every additional user has its own password, and both passwords need to be filled in to log into the device, just to add an additional security level to that, which I think is good as well. Good. Now the light just turned off. Let me see if I can turn it on again. Very sorry for that. So those are the new functions. Then we're just going to go roughly just in a few minutes through the event configuration, because the structure of creating an event is actually quite simple. Depending on what type of event you have. Exactly. So function panel. All our events can be configured through the AI and event. The only difference is the event configuration, motion alarm, and all the other events. The motion alarm is the only one which is configured a little bit different. We go into the motion detection event with all the different triggers or options we can have. The cameras are listed here. We can set a schedule. We can select which cameras need to record after a motion detection, not just the actual camera which is detecting the motion. Also other cameras can be triggered. We can trigger a snapshot, audio if needed, or if the camera has the option, we can also set a push notification through our application. We can configure an alarm out, buzzer, etc. So this can be all be personalized for each and every camera. And then here at the right bottom, we go into the motion settings, where we can then set the actual area for each camera, right? For example, the SAT area, SAT entrance area, or for example, the LPR camera. Here right now we have everything, but this also can be cleared, and you can basically just draw, and you can also reverse it, etc. So This can all be personalized. Obviously, it needs to be enabled. You can set the sensitivity and also the duration of the event. So actually quite straightforward. Then all the other events, the AI events, perimeter detection, face detection, are basically all the same. Let's see one of the events, and then you're going to understand how all the other events can be configured as well. So let's take, for example, the line crossing event, which is a pretty common event. At the very top, you can choose the camera. For example, in this case, we choose the SOT entrance camera. We choose the event. In this case, it will be line crossing. We can also choose intrusion. You just by changing, you change the event. Let's see. Reload. All right, SOT entrance, great. So basically what we have is we have a line crossing event. Let's take another camera just to be sure, the PTZ camera. Let's see if the environment is loading. Yeah, there we go. So, okay, let's do it in the SOT entrance. So basically what you have to do is you have to enable the event. I would also always recommend using detection by IPC. Some events, when the camera doesn't really have the function, it can be done through the NVR, but always keep in mind that the NVR has its limitation of AI, which you can see here in advanced, I believe. No, let me see. There's a limitation, so not all the channels can be used for AI events if the NVR is actually doing the event. So therefore, I always recommend using the detection by IPC. So you basically just enable it. So you enable the event, you display the area, you can set a range. You set a range and you set a line, right? The line, it's A to B, B to A, or both direction. You set a target size, so how big or small was the maximum of the targets which need to be recognized, if it's human, motor vehicle, etc. And then here again, you can choose what the detection target is. So pretty straightforward. And like I said, it's the same with all the other events as well. If it's for intrusion, regional entry, etc., even for face detection, it's the same as well. You enable the event, you set basically the area where you want to have the face detection, what is the minimum and maximum target of the face which needs to be recognized. And then the second point is always the trigger mode. So what needs to happen after the event is triggered. Exactly. This is how the trigger page looks like. So we have here at the left the general triggers, snapshot, push notification. We can also activate a buzzer, a pop-up video, or we have an email sent to us. Also, like in the motion detection before, we can obviously have the camera recording after the event, but not just the actual camera, also the other events. All the other cameras can start to record. An alarm out can be configured. So after a line crossing, we can configure that the alarm out either off the NVR. In this case, this NVR has four alarm outs, can be triggered, or also any other alarm out of any other camera which is connected to the NVR right now, which has obviously a relay. Pretty simple. You just mark them, drag them over, and then you say okay. Then trigger presets. You can also have, if a PTZ camera is connected to your NVR, you can also trigger a preset of a PTZ camera. So one camera is basically on one side detecting a line crossing, and then you can say after the line crossing, my PTZ, which is at the other side, is going to a preset I have previously set. So also you can have a lot of different combinations here, depending what type of cameras you have connected. And this is basically it. This is how every AI event is configured. Parameter settings with what needs to be detected, region, etc., and then the trigger modes. Exactly. Great. So now what I'm going to show you as well is the search or intelligent analytics options in the NVR. We have seen it before in the VMS. And I'm going to show you how easy and simple it is through the NVR to look for events. Therefore, we go into intelligent analytics, and it leads you to the following site. It's either human or vehicle detection. For example, if you go on vehicle, you can choose between motor vehicles, non-motor vehicles, or also plates, which means license plates. Here we just search, for example, just a random search for vehicles, which was not set up, so we have no data. Or we can also search for license plates. Let's say, for example, to the whole week. We say the whole week. I can choose which camera. If you have several LPR cameras, we can also select just one or etc. So in this case, I choose the one we have. And we just search either for all the license plates which were detected. Or I can also search for a specific one. Let's see if it finds mine. It should be this one. We search for it. And you can see how fast it is. All the events right away. You can click on the event. It's going to show you the picture with the information. Can be exported or downloaded directly. And I can also go to the record. It's going to ask for the stream, and you see how fast it is, and it's directly detecting that as well. And I can also export this. So super easy. Let's go back to picture. And what I also can do is you should be able to also register it right now, right away. My license plate is registered. This is also why it's a successful recognition. Or for example, if you go back and we just delete this one and just search for a random license plate, I could also directly register it and put it into a database. Here, it's a strange one. Let me see where the option is, but you should be able to directly register it. Check. Sort picture. Anyhow, so pretty fast and accurate. When we talk about license plate, then obviously you can do the same as well for human or for faces. For example, I always take the metadata option because it's the most fun one. So for example, attributes, you can work for can search for the whole week. Go into it, I can choose what camera. In this case, I have set up the metadata event in my entrance camera. And I can then search for all the attributes, right? You can search, for example, let's say always have to enable it, female with an upper clothing of, let's say, red. Let's see, somebody walked in with a red. And let's say with glasses, for example. Needs to be activated, upper clothing. We say, okay. And we say search. And pretty fast, right? I mean, pretty accurate as well. And just another example, let's say change to male, and we say, for example, blue. We say, for example, can give more options with glasses, etc. No backpack. So yeah, also through the NVR, the search is pretty easy. Here, blue shirt. My colleague Ferdi having fun here. We can go on to the event right away. You have the information, male, middle age, no mask, no hat. It's detecting directly that he's wearing glasses and a blue short sleeve. So really nice here, the target event. The options are also here, showed up at the very bottom. Okay, good. So this was just a short overview of the functions of the NVR. Now, to end this up, I'm going to show you a little bit through the new application and its functions. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to open software and I'm going to share the screen. Let's view. And I'm going to open it here on my phone. In the meantime, you can see here the live events are showing up on the NVR on the right side. all the license plate. We have a target counting event I have set up. So Ferdi is walking out right now. Okay, so I share my screen. Start now, and then I'm going to show you all the options of the new application, which is the Safire Smart Max application. The functions on how to add your device to the application is still the very same as the old. On the right top, you click on plus. You can scan the QR code, and then you just go into your NVR as we did it before, function panel, network, TCP/IP, and in NUT here, you find your QR code and you can scan it right away. So quite straightforward. Let's go back because I've added the NVR already to my application, which will be the first one here. You can see it. All the channels are showing up right away. I can just click on it and it can go into the channel. And I can go directly to playback. It's showing me the timeline. I can scroll through and you can see it's super fast loading directly all the events at the right as well. So not just the timeline, also if, for example, here we have set an event, you can click on it. Contains 3 records. Might take a little bit because the Wi-Fi up here is not that good. You can click on the event and it's going to load the event right away, and it's going to show me what event there was, and it's going to show me the short video clip of the actual event. This can be done in all channels. Just swipe to the left or to the right and just go to the next channel. LPR camera, we go into the playback and just scroll through and can search for an event. Good. Then searching. Well, the same we have done to the VMS and to the NVR, we can also do in the application. When we have our NVR added to it, here at the right bottom, we have those 3 dots. We click on it, we go on device search, and then we have the same functions basically in our application. We can search for people. If we click on it, we can also change to face or attributes, which would be the metadata. We can go into the filter. We can choose what we would like to search for. We say male, clothes, again, green shirt, confirm. You can say today or last 7 days, confirm, and we search it and we have it right away here. Click on the event. You can see green, male. We have the picture. We also have the video. And that's basically it. Then, obviously, we can do the same with vehicles, just searching for vehicles, or we can also search for license plates. Estoy en curso. Dame 20 minutos. We can search for license plates. We can also search for specific license plates. Let's see, for the whole week, for example. Just looking for mine again, confirm. It doesn't need to be the complete license plate. It can also just be the first couple of letters or numbers. Depends how the structure is. Click on it, and then we have it here right away, the picture and also the video. And coming in. So same options here. Well, let me disconnect this again because now we do not have the complete picture. I disconnect and connect again. Start now. Okay, so now we're back. Safire Smart. Then the new functions we have seen before in the PowerPoint presentation is the arming and disarming function. We remember that we had the same option in the audio application as well, but now we can basically create groups. How can we do that? On the 3 dots, let me see. On the the symbol which is on the right through the three dots, which is the arming functions, we can create groups here. At the right top, we can either click plus on here or add at the very bottom. We can give it a name. Let's say test. We can choose the channels or even the sensors we want to arm and disarm. Say, let's this camera. I want to have the LPR sensor and I want to have the LPR camera as well. We can confirm it, and we have a whole group which, if I click on it, I see again the channels which I have added. I can arm them and disarm them just by one click. So, and I can create several groups. If I have more devices, I can arm them. Quite simple. Then what we can also do is we can create basically a favorite view. So now I have just organized them by NVRs, but I can also create a favorite group. At the right top, I can add a group, and I can go into each NVR. I can say, I want to have a view with just camera set entrance, my LPR, and from the XVR I've connected channel number 3. I add them, I give them also a group name. I say, okay, test. And now here we can see the favorites. I have my test group, and those are all the 4 channels, 3 channels I have added to this favorite group. So we can mix it up and make it as easy and as easy as possible for you to check on your cameras. And let me see what else we have. But this is basically everything what we have to offer with the new application. The sharing. Also, the sharing option now is a little bit easier. Let's go. We can go on the right top on share device. What we can do, we can fill in the email address we would like to share it to, for example, to support security, visiotechsecurity.com. This is the account we're using. We use the Spanish one then. So at visiotech.com, go into the next step. Then it's going to show me the cameras or the NVRs I can share. If I go into it, it's going to show me all the channels. And if I go into the camera, I can also define what I would like to share to the other application. If it's just a preview, playback, alarm notification. So I can personalize each and every channel, what purposes the other client or the other application has. Good. Let me just check on the list if I have anything else to add to. But I think that's basically it. So as you can see, the new application is easy to use. It's a little bit simpler. It's more reactive. We have a lot of nice options on how to search, export it directly to your phone. So I think they've done a great job with that. Yeah, I think that was it. Let me just check my notes again, but that was basically what I wanted to talk about, because we haven't done a webinar in a long time for Safire Smart. So I think with this, you have a pretty good idea on what has changed in the last couple of months, the new functions, also the tools which you can use when you install Safire Smart. So let me just check if there are any questions, but I believe there are not. No. So therefore, thank you very much for joining, and I wish you a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want to know more about our security products, subscribe to the Visiotech channel and activate the notifications to always stay updated on the latest videos.